Krugel, and I'm the author of the Canine Chronicles. It's a series of 5 books which depict the lives of 5 law enforcement canines who were scheduled to be euthanized and tell their own stories of how they actually have survived and become working canines in law enforcement. I actually stumbled on writing by accident. I'd come out to UCLA to play sports. My godfather, who worked for ABC, was the executive producer for 2 soap operas. There was a writer's strike, and he asked me if I wanted to write to fill in for someone, and I said sure. And it turned out to be The Young Marrieds, which was a brand new soap he was starting, and also General Hospital, that went on to be very, very famous and successful. From there, I caught the bug, and I was still at UCLA, and I entered a contest called the F. Scott Fitzgerald Contest, and I actually won that. And after that, I've always wanted to write. Book 1 involves Serpico Wolfgang Krugel, who came over from Germany as a puppy. He's a Rottweiler. Serpico was trained in Lackland, Texas, at the Air Force Base to become a narcotics dog. He had gone on numerous drug busts, and then something went terribly wrong. Serpico was shot during a drug bust, and actually he saved the life, probably, of one of the officers in the K-9 unit. His partner was told that he was going to be euthanized. The story revolves around what happens from the point of view of Serpico. What happens when his life is threatened for what he was taught and trained in. The first book was written specifically because I was training with Serpico, and he did everything better than the rest of the canines. Not to mention fast. He's very quick. Very few dogs can outrun him, if any. Serpico is adopted by a former LAPD officer that was in the K-9 unit, the main character whose name is Jake. And Jake is very strange. Jake had lost his children and wife in a car accident, and he has become sort of like a maverick. And Serpico and Jake together sort of heal themselves. Serpico has hugged his soul, and he's able to continue. I did lose 2 children in a car accident, and it's very difficult when you get through times that sort of rip your heart apart, and moving forward, it becomes more and more difficult with each day. The one thing that I really learned is you have to use these things as stepping stones to continue your life. You never really forget about them. But what you do is you hold them in a reverence that very few people can even understand. The book was reviewed to being sort of likened to Jack London's Call of the Wild. The second book is on Hunter S. Thompson, better known as Tommy. Tommy is from the World Trade Center. He's a ground zero dog. He was in the South Tower when it went down, and he survived. When he got out, Tommy became very aggressive, and he actually killed a few dogs. So Tommy was deemed to be euthanized because he was so aggressive. The third book is on Lita, who came over from Germany to become a working dog, which is better known as an attack dog in law enforcement. And as it turned out, Lita turns out to be the biggest chicken in the world, and she escaped from the compound. They feel that she's just too much of a liability to adopt out to anybody who's civilian, and they figure out, well, the safest route to go is to put her down and euthanize her. And then Jake appears again, and Jake is the constant. He ends up with all of these dogs. Book 4 is when all the 3 dogs come together and form a pack, and they end up on assignment for the TSA in New York City. And the 5th book is on Raider. Raider is what they call now a homicide canine. There's very few of them. And Raider's main job is to be off-leash in various areas, for example, airports, and go through and make sure if there's a homicide bomber, he will be able to limit the damage that that person can do. And he's trained specifically to make sure that he localizes the person and gets the person into a corner. And in all probability, if he does find such a perpetrator, Raider will lose his life. Working with the dogs has renewed the focus on things that really matter in life. I mean, I look at a dog now, and you almost can look in their eyes and see what they're trying to tell you. It's just given me a whole new outlook on how humans interact with each other and how humans interact with animals. I think we always have to remember that animals, especially dogs, have one foot in the dog world and one foot in the human world.